Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are moving beyond the standard valuation playbook. We're here to arm you with an advanced toolkit for weaving environmental, social, and governance factors into your analysis, really capturing their true impact on a company's value.
So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at the challenge with traditional discounted cash flow, DCF. Then we're going to add two really powerful tools to your kit, one for getting a handle on current profitability, and another for navigating what the future might hold. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into one seamless, integrated framework.
All right, first things first. Let's set the stage and get really clear on the core problem we're trying to solve here.
Look, we all use DCF. It's the absolute bedrock of valuation, right? But let's be honest, its need for very specific cash flow forecasts can make it struggle with the massive uncertainty and long-term timelines of big ESG issues, like climate risk or supply chain resilience.
And just to be crystal clear, we are not trying to throw DCF out the window. Not at all. The idea here is to build on top of it, to add new lenses that give us different and, frankly, much richer ways of seeing how a company's ESG performance actually creates value and manages risk.
So, let's get our hands on the first tool in our new kit. This one is all about the here and now. It helps us measure with real precision how efficiently a company is making a return on the money it has already put to work.
And here it is, Return on Invested Capital, or ROIC. It's a classic measure of how well a company is using its capital to generate profits. But this is where it gets really cool. You can see how ESG performance plugs directly into this formula. It can boost operating profits through efficiencies or even change the value of the company's assets and liabilities.
This is the big question that ROIC helps us answer with actual numbers. Time and again, we see that companies that are strong on ESG are often just better at allocating capital. And this formula shows us the mechanics of how that value is actually being created. And this example makes it all so clear. So picture this. A real estate company invests in new, water-efficient systems for its buildings. Now, that's not just an expense, right? It's a strategic investment. It makes their properties more valuable, and it directly increases their net operating profit because they can charge higher rent and keep tenants longer. That ESG move, it leads directly to a better ROIC. Simple as that.
Now, building on ROIC, we get to economic value added, or EVA. This is a fantastic metric because it measures the value a company creates after paying for its cost of capital, and you can see how ESG fits right in. We just saw how it can pump up the ROIC, but it can also lower the weighted average cost of capital, the WACC, by making the company look like a safer bet to investors.
What EVA really does is cut through the accounting noise and show us if management is generating true economic value. By linking ESG projects to how capital is being spent, EVA becomes an amazing tool for measuring the real, bottom-line return of a company's sustainability strategy.
Okay, on to tool number 2. This one is specifically designed to tackle the single biggest headache in ESG analysis, just how uncertain the future really is. For huge, complex issues like climate change, the future isn't one straight road. It's a whole web of possible paths. Scenario analysis is essential here because it lets us explore a range of these futures instead of betting on just one.
And it's a very structured process. It forces us to move beyond just telling stories about what could happen. This is how we translate those what-if possibilities, like new regulations or tech breakthroughs, into hard, quantitative impacts on the financials. It's about turning narratives into numbers.
So let's make this real. Imagine an agricultural products company. They're trying to figure out what a 2-degree warming world means for them. Well, right away, the two things that matter most, their key ESG value drivers, are where they get their crops and how they manage water. Both are under direct threat. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. This table models the financial fallout. You can see 3 different futures for their capital spending. In the best case, they get ahead of the problem, investing in things like drought-resistant crops, and their capex growth stays low. But in the worst case, they wait too long and have to scramble, causing their spending to just explode.
And what this analysis does is it lays bare the direct financial consequences. Their revenue is at risk if crop yields fall. Their risk profile could get worse, making it more expensive to borrow money. But, and this is so important, it also shines a huge spotlight on the opportunity. Being proactive isn't just about playing defense. It's how you build a real competitive advantage for the long haul.
So, Let's pull this all together. We've looked at tools that help us understand the present and tools that help us navigate the future. Now, let's combine them into one powerful, integrated valuation toolkit.
And this framework really brings it all home. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the two fundamental drivers of a company's value: its cash flow and its cost of capital. Whether you're using ROIC to get a handle on profitability or scenario analysis to map out risk, the goal is always the same: connect specific ESG actions to these core financial levers.
So the real takeaway here is that these tools do more than just give you a more accurate number. They force you to ask better, sharper questions. They help you shine a light on the ESG-related risks and the massive opportunities that your traditional models might be missing completely. And the ultimate question this toolkit leaves us with is this: what are you just not seeing in your valuations today?